Traditional textiles in Africa is really becoming a popular topic. But the Congo is a place where it's the heart of Africa, yet we don't always talk about its traditional textiles. We know a lot about the sapeurs and the traditions of style and looking good. But what about its textile industry? In today's video, I'll be introducing you to an amazing entrepreneur, a French Congolese, who is going to be talking about the traditions of Congolese textiles. My name is Jacqueline Shaw, and I am the founder of African Fashion Guide, and I would like to invite you to my channel. Let's dive in, but do remember to subscribe below and you'll get notified of the weekly videos that we host here on YouTube. So let's dive in. Jess, I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Really good to have you here since we met a few years ago in person. I've been looking at your work for a while. Just to quickly introduce you, I want the watchers of this channel to know that this is Jess Kilubukila. Hopefully I said that correctly. A French Congolese designer, and he created the eponymous studio, which is based between London and Kinshasa in the Congo, where he makes the most amazing furniture and textiles using local and African cultural elements to bridge the gap between what is traditional craft and modern designs. And what I love so much about what you're doing with these women crafters, these skilled hand embroidery work that we're seeing for these kind of rug making and these home textiles. I really love the way that it's a community-focused work, but we're going to go a bit more into that. I'll let you quickly introduce yourself, and it's probably the better way than I have. So over to you for 2 seconds.
Yeah. No, hi, Jacqueline. Nice to see you again. You did very well. What is there to add? So yeah, I'm Jess Kilubukila, French Congolese. I created a brand called Kilubukila, which in Kikongo, one of the local language, means be wise. The idea was to open a space for modern African styles for interiors and furniture. The idea was also to set up a studio in the Congo in order to help building the design industry humbly. The idea was also to utilize local skills, local cultures, in order not to just make artisanry, but also to make design product that could, go throughout the world. The idea, in a sense, was to be in competition with IKEA, an African competition for IKEA. So we're not there yet, but in the process.
This is just amazing. African version of IKEA. Even though we want to be the African #1 furniture company, I think that's even better. So I love it. I love it. So in my opinion, you are an expert in textiles from Congo, and you focus a lot on textiles like the Kuba. What made you decide to do that? I mean, what was it really that drew you to say, you know what, I'm gonna use these textiles specifically, rather than everyone else may choose to just do things in wax print, for example? Why this tradition? Why this textile?
Yeah, well, I have been working for about 6 months to a year with African wax, which is widespread in the West, super colorful, they're super cool. They've been worn by my mom, my aunts, my grandma, my sisters, so they're very part of an African tradition. But very few of those are produced on the African continent. So the move for me was really to produce locally and utilize local skills, because there's a lot of African fabric, traditional or more modern. Some moderns are coming. I chose the Kuba simply because I'm from the Congo originally. So I guess it seemed less hard, if I can say, to tackle something that I knew in a country that I knew. So yeah, so I'm not yet an expert in Kuba, but I've partnered with some experts in Kuba, and it's also very good. I have like a team of 2 people that are very knowledgeable, One is a professor at the Académie des Beaux-Arts, which is the local art school, the main local art school in Kinshasa. So we're yeah, it's super cool. So we're exchanging, I'm designing, he's translating into what it would be using raffia textile and making in Kuba. So it's super cool. We're both learning a lot.
And you know what? I'm learning a lot from you as well, because yeah, we hear a lot about a lot of other things, and I'm like, you know, Congo is the heart of Africa. It provides so much for the world, you know, in a lot of the everyday products that we use. So why not celebrate and, you know, showcase and present and sell, you know, on these traditional textiles to the world, and let the world also experience what it has to offer. So I really love this. You have a piece, or a couple of pieces there you can show and maybe explain how it works, and you know, the pictures that we'll put up will also showcase the process. But maybe you can explain a little bit about just the nature of how it is done.
Yeah, of course. So I've got like a more traditional one. Here you go. I don't know if you can see quite well.
Yeah, can now. Awesome. Wow. Very geometrical.
So this, yeah, so this is a vintage piece. So this is what they've been making traditionally. Those are being worn as clothing for ceremonies, like with the king, or weddings, or funerals. So they're pretty good for this. So you've got basically the raffia fiber. You start by this. So you've got the raffia fiber, which is a string as good as this. You start by this. So the men are responsible. To get the raffia from the field, and then the women are stripping. Oh, can you hear me? Are stripping the raffia for it to make it quite soft, so that it can be worked on. Then they do the embroidery. It's a very detailed and time-consuming work. And before that, you do the dyeing. So traditionally, it's very earthy tone, because you use what is locally. We've been further than the Congo, so we've been able to add some more colors, some natural colors. So it's pretty cool.
I see some reds, but it's mostly cream and browns. Oh wow!
Yeah,
beautiful.
That's the kind of product we are making. Thank you.
Beautiful. But you tell it's a strong community focused story, because the way, like it's the men have their role, the women have their role within the whole process, but together they are producing this, and then the way it's been made in the community of women who sit and do the actual process. What does this mean for your brand? I mean, is the brand focused on the textiles that have been locally sourced, or the craft of the Kuba, or is it more about the people? So the finished textiles, or the actual technique and craft that is unique, or the people? So which, or is it all the above? I mean, for you, what would you say is the biggest focus?
Yeah, I would say it's all the above. But we started by using culture as a way to move from traditional craft to a design product. So it's really entrenched to the culture, to the community, to the people who make it, to how they live, to how they were taught this mastercraft, to how they're passing on to generation. So everything is very intertwined, I think. But ultimately, we're a business, or more correctly, we're a social business. So we do want to make a good product, which is good quality, which is consistent, and we can sell ultimately, because this is the only way we can survive as a business and benefit the community of the people who make those and the one who depends on them.
So where is the product being sold? If people want to get their hands on it, you said, as we're talking about that, let's just mention, do you have an online shop, or is it sold in shops in Kinshasa, or
Mhm.
back in France, where you go and back and forth to? Where is it mainly sold that people can get their hands
Yeah.
on your product?
Well, yeah, of course. So mainly it's online. So our website. We have some resellers as well, online resellers in France, Moonlook World, for
Oh
instance.
yeah, Nelly.
We're discussing with, yeah, exactly. Nelly Wangi. We're discussing with, well, the discussions are restarting in order to have our product in stores. But, you know, that was 2020, that was 2021, so everything was on hold. But happily, we will come back and will be sold physically in France, in the UK, and in the US. But if you're ready to take the trip to Kinshasa, you can find some stores there that have the products.
Awesome. I want to see more of it. I really, really do. I just think it's just so unique. So unique.
Thank you.
So Congo, maybe you can explain to people about the country that you're from, the country that you originate from, your heritages, because maybe people haven't heard a lot about the place. They maybe they've heard about, you know, Sape's and that's about it, or some of its past history. But what would you like to share and have people know about the Congo, about Kinshasa? What would you like them to know?
Yeah. It's hard to say. It's such a big country. It's such a
Right?
huge capital. 2 million people in Kinshasa. What is there to know? I think it's people. It's people and the nature make it. Congolese have a tough life. I think it's a developing country. It was a failed state for since the independence. So people are struggling, they're hard workers, but they also like life, you know. I think we gave a lot to African music, like the Congolese rumba, like the Franco, the Kabasele, the Grand Calais. So we gave a lot
Today,
of
yeah.
joy. And
Historically and even
still
today.
today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, with the Maître Gims, with Inosby, etc. So it's a country that sings and that dance a lot and very well, and this is nice. Sadly, it's a country that needs a lot of push in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of even in terms of design and artisanry. It's a country that's been offering a lot to the world, as you said. You know, the coltan, which is used in all the electrical appliances to connect all those. And I guess we haven't received a lot in return. So it's a country that is thirsty, and I hope in the next 25 years it will change. But it takes a lot of, I think it takes a generation maybe to start coming back. It takes some of the diaspora to take what they've learned outside and maybe come back and build. But it can also take, you know, some people who stayed in the West and connect as well with the Congo. And
Exactly.
I guess if we try raising awareness about what it is, and if we start building and focusing on what it could be, I have hope for the Congo.
That's really good because you know, I've got, you know, Congolese clients, you know, here in the diaspora, and I know many will be excited about this interview and what you're doing, what you're sharing. And what I feel you're doing is helping to change the narrative, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, but you're helping to change the narrative about fashion in the Congo. Like I said, we have an impression, that I have, you know, an impression in my head, which is actually a positive one. I know that, you know, I hear positive things about, you know, Congolese tailoring is very good. Style is there, you know, known for a place where people have a lot of style. But, you know, I feel you're changing the narrative and you're building a community around handmade products and projects. So what would you like to see? How would you like to see that work evolve, like the impact of that work? The impact you'd like to see happen, what from the work you're doing, what would be your ideal impact? You said 25 years, but even in the next 5 years, what would you like to see happening?
Yeah, well, I think you use the word changing the narrative, and that's very true. I would like the Congo to be known not just for its wars, not just for its minerals, or not just for its drama or its Sape, but we've got something, you know, that is also more intimate to show, and I think design could be something like this. The impact I would like to show, and I've seen starting already, it's building a community around design, around artisans, and how can this evolve, and how can we all work together, and how can we all collaborate. And this is already leading somewhere. I think we're going to work on the first Kinshasa Design Week for October. So that's super exciting.
Very
Where I would like it to be seen. Yeah, that's super good. So you should come. That's super cool. And and then as an industry, I would like a lot of extraction is made from the Congo, but all the value added, all of the transformation is not done locally. So what I would like it to do is like the brand to grow enough, maybe to start a factory. Also, you know, still in respect with the, you know, the handwork, the stitching, all this stuff, but I would like, you know, let's build here. Let's have a real 100% made in Congo, and something that's a bit complicated and something that can be exported somewhere. And let's create jobs, and let's, you know, create skills, and let's, you know, help development in that sense. I think it's doing entrepreneurship in a developing country in Africa is highly political, I think, and I think that's also why I'm doing this today.
So how many people, or women and men, are you working with at the moment? Can you put a figure on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At the moment, we have a team of about 32 people.
Oh, awesome!
Which is which is pretty cool. We have 27 artisans, and there are 3 kind of creative manager, that type of thing. But we tend to have like a very collaborative process where we share everything, and, you know, we have the discussions together. I would like the female artisans to form maybe an association, so they can form their you know, what they like, or their rights, and stuff like this. So I think it could be very interesting for the future.
I think as well, because I think you know, cooperative groups are good as well, and just some kind of association to keep, you know, the network, because the question is always like, who's doing what, and the data is missing. So I think that would be really important. So just to kind of wrap up, I mean, you've been doing this for a little while now, and okay, we're right at the time of this recording, we're still in the season of the pandemic and lockdown. But what lessons have you learned working with the Congo? And from those lessons, what advice or tips would you give to anybody who wants to do it specifically in that country?
Yeah, okay. So arriving at the Congo, I think the first lessons are things takes time. It's not as fast as in Europe. You can't take decision as fast. It's not going to be acted upon as fast. So it takes time. Don't worry. Don't lose your hair on it. It will work. Just be consistent. Be super hardworking. I think be super hardworking and surround yourself well. But firstly, surround yourself. You cannot do everything by yourself. But when you surround yourself well in terms of trust, in terms of skills, but also in terms of vision. You know, it's very difficult, because a lot of people, and because this is the way you live, you know, it's difficult. You have to just get out during the day if you want to eat in the evening. So a lot of people are short-sighted in the day-to-day. So it's one of the big steps was to, okay, let's imagine the future. Let's see about, you know, what it could be at the end of the month, what it could be in 6 months, how we could be together in a year. And I think that's how A, we can build a business, and B, we can build a sustainable future.
That is just a mic drop moment. I just loved, you know, just, yeah, I think that's going to be, I have to use that now. I might just have to take your phrase here. Surround yourself well when it comes to trust, when it comes to skill, and when it comes to vision. Wow.
Yeah.
Love that. Because that all of those, I'm just like, I can resonate with all of that. All of that. You just summed up so well. Yeah, it's so true. So thank you. And then just what you've got coming next. You mentioned about the possible fashion show for the business. Any you know, anything, collaborations or things that you're doing, or kind of people you're looking to work with. Maybe you like to just share what you've got coming up. So if anybody wants to get in touch, who would like to know about it.
So we've got a super cool collaboration with a very nice African brand based in Paris, and another supermarket, and it's really nice because it's a collection of homeware which been 100% made in Africa. So this is going out in spring in France. That's going to be super interesting. And then we're doing Milan Design Week in September, Salone Satellite. If it happens, we never know. I was talking about the future, let's have a vision, but we don't know if it's all those events are happening. So yeah, that's going to be interesting. And the Kinshasa Design Week, I think this will be super cool. It's going to be the first ever. This is going to be very nice.
I think that's amazing. It's a lot of exciting things ahead. I think that you're really solidifying the space in this market, and you're doing it at a level of excellence. And I think that's really important for everybody to see that you're coming in and what you're giving out is done in excellence. And that's the standard that we have to have, because we want to work with international markets. We need to present the products with a level of excellence. And I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy. So kudos to you and to your team as well. So thank you once more for your time, Jess. I really appreciate you. For those who are watching, thank you. Remember, make sure to subscribe to my channel, where I host training videos on how to build a fashion business in Africa, and I do amazing interviews as part of the Fashion Africa Voices playlist. You can hear stories from many of those on the ground doing amazing things and get inspired for your business. So do make sure to subscribe, and you will be notified of the new videos every single Tuesday and Thursday. See you in the next video.
See you.